the one memory for bodybuilding that stands out to you the most? Like when you think about
Oh, the
everything.
most?
Yeah.
100% winning my pro card. Because that was something that, is just a very hard thing to do in the realm of bodybuilding. It's
Hmm.
really to win your professional status means you have to win a big show, So at the end of the day, everyone up there is ripped. Everyone's got a six pack. Everyone's got muscle, and everyone's dedicated enough to So it's really what's gonna, distinguish you is just like the little extra detail. And so again, going back to my first contest, I just wanted to be like solid. I just want to be respectful. I didn't want to go up there and people be like, "Oh man, he don't belong up
Yeah,
there." I just want to go up and like do my
yeah,
thing. But again, I was just, I practiced my posing, and again, I had friends like older bodybuilders who would give me some pointers on my posing and presentation, and yeah, my first show I just did really well. They basically the classes are divided by experience. So
Okay.
there's
All
one
right.
class is debut, it's your very first show. Then there's a novice class if you've never won a class, which is again it's like a beginner. And then the open is the main division where that's where the top bodybuilders compete. And to win the open is that's when you win, your professional status. So
That's dope.
yeah, no, I mean, it was again that first show where, you know, there was this one competitor who was just incredible, and you'd see this at contests. Like sometimes someone has such an impressive physique, like half the people are just on their nuts, being like, "Yo, just give him the trophy
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
I ain't
yeah,
gonna beat them.
yeah.
This guy
Yeah.
looks like Hercules. Like, we're done." And so a lot of times there's like energy with kind of people like, "Oh, this person looks really good," and unfortunately, this guy with his inexperience, his posing was really bad, And again, with bodybuilding, it's about how much muscle you have, but also how ripped you are, like basically like how little body fat you have, So that's where I was really ripped, and his posing was off. So I ended up beating someone who like they thought was gonna win the whole show, And I'm like, a rookie, and like we
Yeah.
were all rookies, but again, this guy had such an impressive physique, so like, you know, beating someone who's more impressive like that, especially as a smaller, bodybuilder, and also as someone was a hockey player who eventually stopped because I stopped growing too, beyond, when I, dabbled with steroids in high school, like I also just stopped, so it just became
I
very.
feel you, bro. I'm
Yeah,
not exactly
so
much taller.
so basically, like when I'm like, yo, I found a sport where like I could take out the big guy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
hooked, bro.
Let's
I'm
go.
changing my safe DJ David, yo. I'm looking for Goliath always. I'm looking. Just take him out. But and again, after that first show was just really like I just went in, wanted to be respectful, and I was like, I did really good. I ended up getting like third in the open class. I still remember that being on stage for the first time, hitting some poses, and all of a sudden I just hear nice hamstring 58 58 nice hamstrings. You're like, yo, like I don't know anybody here, and someone's like shouting me out because that you just are known by your number,
Okay.
so when people are in the crowd they'll just yell, whatever number you are. And I'm like, damn, I'm getting a shout out, and I looked over at this guy. I'm like, oh, he's look pretty big. He's a pretty big dude. Come to find out afterwards, he was actually the pro bodybuilder who was like doing the guest posing at the show. And I'm like, yo, like, damn, I'm humble. Like, thanks for the shout out. He's like, yo, I gotta call it like I see him. I gotta call it like I see him. I'm like, damn, like the pro gave me props. And so yeah, from there, just kept competing, and again it took me like 3.5 years to officially finally win my professional status. And it was a grind, man. Definitely took second place a lot, a bunch of times, and it's tough. But like again, going back to what you said, my most memorable moment was winning my pro card, because I literally just come off a New York show where again I just so close to be winning overall, and like again this guy was incredible physique. I think his, again, I think I had him with the posing and conditioning, but he was quite impressive, and he wasn't. So I literally had just done a show where I'd almost won, and so I just really just I'm like, yo, this I gotta, I gotta, this is my show,
Mm-hmm.
and once I got there, there were a couple of guys who are, again, I'm usually one of the smaller guys there, so there's two guys who were pretty impressive, and I knew I had to bring it, and I remember being backstage, and again, that was the year, that was my daughter was gonna be born, so I remember going back before posing and pulled out like the sonogram picture, just pulled it out and just like, yo, your dad's gonna go kick some ass today, and it was, and then to go out and just they had me, so basically again with bodybuilding with comparisons when they do the prejudging, which is pretty much where the scoring happens, they line everybody up and then pretty much they put one of the best physique in the middle. So if you're in dead center, that usually means you're gonna win because they're comparing everyone else to you. So if you're always in the middle, then that's usually, so for prejudging, I was pretty much like dead center almost the whole time, so I felt it, I really felt it. And, but then I remember the kid who took second, I don't think he even thought like I was on the radar, because I remember him talking to the other kid who took third place, and he's like, yo, I think it's between us. And I remember, we're all side stage as they're calling the placings, and then they called third, and then so it was this one kid. So then it just came down to me and the kid who thought, he had it. And in that moment, I'm like, "Ah, it's mine, bro." And and then they're in second place, and they called his name, and so I'm standing, and in that moment, I felt like I went blind for a second, and like it was like everything was like, just like literally a dream come true. I'm like, what? Like I felt like everything was just kind of washed out in a second, and it was just like this crazy energy. And I remember, going to the front, and they awarded me a belt, like a belt for first place. And I remember the promoter coming up because I had actually, this again, years I'd competed. So this specific show, I think I'd taken second the last 2 years, So he came up and just was like, dude, you finally did it. And I just remember like on some like John Cena shit, just being like, yeah, like holding the belt up. Like my yeah, and people, again, it's hard to explain, I guess. I mean, anyone who's a performer, it's just that moment where you like pop the crowd is everything. It's addicting, It's like one of the greatest feelings of the world when you just literally can like activate the joy in your life. The joy in your life literally activates the audience. It's like nothing but your heart just like on display, and everyone's like, "Woo!" It's again like that's just looking back. Again, it was such a moment because it was such a huge hill to climb.